Well, let me grab my, lay down, my tablet.
All right, folks, while the gremlins at Twitter, or I'm sorry, the gremlins at YouTube are getting us up and running, you are listening to the podcast version of Suds News, and we're getting set to go live on YouTube once I share the link. And this is going to be a fantastic show, fantastic episode today.
Mhm.
Go ahead and throw up that hashtag of GH. And all right, we are live. This episode is aptly titled The Port Charles Screwjob. But either way, we are live. I am Vinnie. This is Angela. And as you can tell, not one of us are Elizabeth Korte, as um, I was accused of being over this weekend, but we'll get to that in just a little bit.
Well,
We
I'm
are
going to tell you, it's impossible because I get accused of being Elizabeth Korte, and there's no way we can both be Elizabeth Korte.
That's very true. And you're right. Not we both can't, but we both get accused of it or being on the payroll of GH. I wish I was on the payroll of
Right?
GH. If I was
Please.
doing that, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But anyways, welcome to Suds News, brought to you by Suds in the Squared Circle. I am Vinny. This is Angela, and as always, just a little bit of church announcements out of the way. We are an official affiliate of the WWE shop, which is a Fanatics experience. Go over to sudsandsquaredcircle.com/wrestling merch, and that gets you that gets us some commission based on what you buy, because it has the affiliate link in there. It kind of helps with the show and everything else. Also, quick programming note, I did push back the Sudsy Awards until next Sunday, the 28th. Kind of ran into a couple of technical difficulties and technical problems. So it'll be next Sunday, the 28th. And I do apologize for all that. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. I'm sorry, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. is Dockside at the Bay right here on this YouTube channel where Kim and I will go over season 3, episode 1 and 2 of the web series of the Bay that you can find on Peacock and a whole host of other places. But that's not what you're here for tonight. You're here for General Hospital tonight. And I gotta tell you, you cannot keep people happy. I don't know if we're watching a different show. I don't know if we're watching I don't know.
I have been asking the haters, we're just going to call them the haters. I have been asking them for the alternate feed, it feels like for decades now.
Yeah.
Because they're certainly not watching what's airing on ABC.
No, they're not.
Weekdays, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Boston time in the Boston area, other times, other places. It's a completely different show.
Yes.
I could, so many people, he, ha, ha, ha. I'm going to fast forward those I don't like because it makes them mad or it does this or it does that. And then claim to know what's going on.
Yes.
Or ask, like, why hasn't this happened? Oh, it has. You just didn't see it.
Right.
Idiot. If I hear one more person on a soap board say, why hasn't anyone in Sonny's family considered that maybe his medication's not right?
Well, we've had multiple people.
They have. Multiple people have.
Yes.
Watch the show.
Yes.
Or
exactly.
Shut up.
Yeah. So here's the thing. All right. And we're going to start off hot because I'm in a punchy mood. I've been up since 3 a.m. And you know what? I don't give a crap at this point. First of all, I am wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt because that's the kind of mood I'm in tonight. But so here's the thing.
Vinny's answering some fan mail.
Oh yeah, I'm firing back tonight.
You go.
So here's the thing. I put out a post on Twix that got 8.3 thousand views, probably the highest amount of views that a post from our Suds account has ever had. But here's the thing. I put it out at 7:04 a.m. on the 20th of September. I mean, so 20th of July, which was Saturday morning, after I watched Friday's episode of General Hospital. Okay, I'm not sure if hashtag Elizabeth Korte is on Twix, but this is a true appreciation post for her writing for hashtag GH. The writing has been on fire, and the show has been can't miss over these past few months. At Valentini Frank and at Nathan Varney, make sure to let her know that her writing is awesome. Okay, and holy cow, it got blew up. 3 reposts, 11 quote posts, 28 likes, 4 bookmarks, but the comments go on and on. GHWWE fan 23 said the show has not been much watch in many months. Hashtag freedom by any means, which is at _SHA management, said stop lying. At pretty fangirl, how much are they paying you? At front row Mez, MEZZ, the show has been can't miss for the past few months. Tell that to the 250,000 people who stopped watching in recent months, on top of the lapsed viewers before that. I skipped the 7/12 episode that made Trina diminish herself to see Laura's horrific POV about Heather. And then let's see, at Olivia J404, all these lies. So, and I could go on and on. It just and then here's the one I gotta laugh at. At TV fan 43. This is a paid advertisement because people are tuning off this show in droves, and shared a one of those soap opera network pictures, week 41 of 2023 to 2024 total viewers, with GH coming in at 1.9 million for the week, 12th straight week under 2 million, 18th time this season. You know, and on top of a lot of the laughing memes or gifs or whatever they are. And you know what? I don't get it. I don't get it. What show is being aired on ABC from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern in that time slot that you people are upset about?
Here's my thing. I don't mind if they're upset. I don't care if they hate it. That is their right.
Correct.
My issue comes in with them saying to you, stop lying. With them saying to you, you are not entitled to your own opinion of the show. You are not allowed to enjoy something that I'm not enjoying.
Right.
And to that I say, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
People, not everybody, it's subjective. And you don't speak for the majority. You don't speak for anybody but yourself.
Right.
You know, and yes, maybe you have a circle of friends that all agree with everything in the world with you, and that's fine. You're still not the majority. Right. You're still not the voice of the masses.
Correct.
Get out of your echo chamber, or don't. Stay in your echo chamber. Whatever you want. But you don't get to decide. And by, of course, I don't mean you, Vinnie. I mean the general you. Yeah. You do not get to decide what other people enjoy. Period. End of story. And that's it.
And here's the thing. And we've talked about this on the show. We've talked about this on this podcast specifically numerous times. And when they put out the whole thing about the ratings, I put 250,000 who didn't, when the person said, you know, the 250,000 people have stopped watching in recent months. I said 250,000 who didn't watch on cable, but doesn't take into account the amount of people who watch on streaming. So cut that in half. And quite honestly, the Nielsen ratings are an outdated metric, and nobody, not even the networks, actually look at them. And even Eric Bischoff, who is you know, former WCW head, has his own podcast, 83 Weeks. He has actually been in that situation. He's stated that the networks don't care about the Nielsen ratings anymore. So this front row Mez replied, says the press actually looks at the Nielsen numbers, and so do advertisers. we account for streaming and its audience loyalty too. When does GH pop up as a top 10 watch program in the US on Hulu? You can't shift the goalpost because GH isn't cutting it.
Well, a few weeks ago, somebody should tell Nancy Legrand, who has been on the show for decades.
Yep.
And before that was on other shows and is very, very well informed of how this works.
Yeah.
Because she had a Zoom a couple weeks ago and she was asked about if they're, in trouble because of the ratings. And she said they are not concerned about the ratings. And General Hospital has been doing amazing on streaming.
Yes.
The press publishes the ratings. I mean, I have shouted this from the rooftops and whatever. The soap press publishes the ratings. Other places publish the ratings. The thing is that what people fail to understand, and they continue to not understand, is General Hospital is not competing.
Before you get there, this is what I replied, because this is where you're going. I said, clearly you need to do some research. The only people that look at Nielsen numbers are people like you that complain on social media. Advertisers do not look at the Nielsen numbers anymore. GH wins its time slot on ABC Daily. It also wins the ABC Afternoon as well. Both of those are based on the Nielsen numbers, and GH is consistently in the top 20 or top 10 on Hulu. And I said, yes, I was using the Nielsen numbers to discredit your argument, and also stating that the Nielsen numbers aren't the be-all, end-all when looking at the show's success anymore.
Exactly. It's a portion of the ratings picture. And the Nielsen numbers we see, what a lot of people also forget, is that they're live plus same day.
Yes.
Viewing. So that means
on demand through cable.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure that right now there are about, I'm going to double check this number just so I'm sure. But it's live plus same day, which means you watched it live or you watch your DVR by 3 a.m.
Yeah.
How many people binge on the weekends?
Yeah, most people. Yep.
You know what I mean? And right now, Nielsen has about 42,000 households. 42,000 in the United States.
Yep.
Out of 125 million viewing households in the United States. 42,000. And the Nielsen's are registering what these people watch live and same day on their DVR.
Right. Exactly.
And yes, the ratings have gone down. The ratings have gone down consistently since the OJ trial.
Yeah.
On every soap.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, GH is down. They also rebounded a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And then the last ones I think we have, they've are going up and down. They're under 2 million according to the Nielsen's.
Right.
But that doesn't take into account Hulu, ABC.com, the apps.
Yeah.
Those are all different things. And those shows have advertisers on them as well.
They do.
If General Hospital was not making money, General Hospital would not be on the air.
Correct.
Period.
And end of story.
End of story. Soaps cannot and should not cater to any one set of fans.
Right.
No group of fans agree on everything, not even the echo chambers.
No, they don't.
No group of fans agree on anything. So when you say they should listen to the fans, which fans?
Right.
And people also, they're like, oh, well, they film a few weeks ahead. They could change things. General Hospital films 3 to 8 weeks ahead, depending on where they are in the dark cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And they write months ahead.
Yes.
Storylines used to be laid out for the entire year
Yeah.
by like November.
Mm-hmm.
And, they can't just change things on a dime.
No, they can't. They can't
And
change things.
nor should they. They need to pick a story, commit to it, and follow it through.
Yes.
That's how soaps work. Period. End of story. That's how they've always worked.
Yep. And it's funny you bring up, that they should, commit to a story, stick to it, and follow through with it. Tonight on Take Two, talking about the Pikeman story, because that's gone through so many pivots and swerves and everything that you can't even keep track of it. Because when it was first brought up, everybody thought that Mason and Austin and Cyrus were part of it. Because if you remember, the FBI raid of Sonny's shipment was because Cyrus sent the babysitter to get information on from Sonny, and they set her up with the planted evidence. So that, so at that point we thought that Cyrus was the head of Pikeman, and then we thought it could have been the warden that was the head of Pikeman, and just there's so many twists and turns.
And I mean, it goes back even further than that because, like a year before that, Valentin was going to Sonny and offering him the deal from Pikeman. I mean, Pikeman, it was a background thing, for Dex to get the information on Sonny. Yes. That was the point of the Pikeman story. And then they used it in a different story. They evolved it and used it in a different story. Mm-hmm. And it is evolved, and they've evolved it with this. They're using things that they have at their disposal instead of picking totally new stories out. Soaps do this too. Mm-hmm. The Ice Princess.
Yes.
Was the world's largest uncut diamond that could control a weather machine that would control the world's weather.
Yeah.
But a couple of years ago, it popped up as being part of a necklace that contained coordinates.
Yeah.
To someplace in Greenland that, you know what I mean? A totally different thing. Yeah, and exactly. That's a story from the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like a prop. It's like a virtual, Pikeman is like a virtual prop.
Right.
And people also complain about, stories dragging out. This is a show that airs 200 and some odd episodes a year.
Correct.
Stories are supposed to take years. These are generational families that we see. Carly came to town in April of 1996. The audience knew who she was. And other characters found out gradually.
Yep.
But Bobby didn't find out until 2 years later. That story took that long. Yep. Just for Bobby to find out. And then it took them even longer, you know what I mean? And that's how soap stories work.
That's the nature of the being.
It's not an after-school special.
Right.
It's not a very special episode. It's an ongoing serial.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It comes down to, we've touched on this last week. People are not watching soaps for what they used to watch soaps for the stories. They're watching for specific relationships, specific characters, and if your character is not being written for well, you're going to write off the entire show because of the fact that your character is not getting enough, and here's the thing. When the person in the comments said that it was ridiculous for Trina to have the same viewpoint as Laura about the Heather situation, why is that ridiculous? Why does she have to be completely, revengeful against, Heather? Maybe she has a bigger heart, which honestly, we saw that with her relationship with Spencer.
And her relationship with Ava.
Yeah.
That's Trina. She's not vengeful. She doesn't hold a grudge. She doesn't hold she is very forgiving.
Yes.
Ava did horrendous things to Trina's best friend's family
Yes.
and was partially responsible for Trina's best friend's brother's death.
Yep.
But Trina was able to get past that and
Mm-hmm.
form a bond with Ava.
Yeah. And what we're talking about here, folks, is that last week Trina and Laura sat down and, Trina wanted to get the information directly from Laura, which is the smartest thing to do rather than her mother who's going through hearsay and just made up crap. And she asked Laura, "Are you looking to try to get Heather out of prison?" And Laura's like, "No, I'm asking questions. I'm looking at her medical records. This is new information that came to light. All I'm doing right now is asking questions, but it's a moot point because Heather doesn't want me to touch the case. She wants to be there. She says she belongs there."
Right.
So and then Trina came back with, if this information is new, she should have a new trial with this new information. And that's the heart of a person who actually cares about the justice system, about redemption, about,
and that's Trina.
Yes.
That's Trina. Spencer did horrendous things to that girl, and the same group of fans are fine with her forgiving him for everything.
Right.
Which is insane. But at the same time, like this same group of people last Friday, Trina and Joss had really nice scenes that were very Trina focused on her grief. Exactly what they've been asking for. Again.
Closure.
Right. And they got, they had done those scenes at the graveyard a little while, a couple months ago. And then they did these ones. And a lot of the comments that I saw were, well, it's about time. Well, if they could do it now, why couldn't they do it then? And I'm just like, they can't fucking win with some people.
No.
They cannot fucking win, no matter what they do. They cannot win. And another thing, I'm going to go off on another little tangent here about the, things the masses bitch about.
Mm-hmm.
They want an ensemble show.
Yeah. Yes.
Which soaps absolutely should be.
Yes.
They want an ensemble show. But then they say, why is this person in this person's story? No, my sweet summer children. If it's an ensemble show, every story can include any character.
Right.
And there is no, this is this person's story. On a soap opera, these are all people in one town interacting with each other.
Yeah.
They are part of each other's stories, part of each other's lives. That's the show. And that's what it should be.
Yeah, and that's where you get multi-layered storytelling, which is a great way of telling a story,
right,
from the perspective of the cast, because you are getting interactions with people that don't normally interact, and and that's the way you make new stories. So when you have
new
these umbrella stories, you have these umbrella stories like the Pikemen, like the Greenland, like a lot of these other things, the weddings, the funerals.
The weddings, when they used to, like the virus story and the hostage situation at the Metro Court, things that people loved. Those included a lot of the canvas.
Yeah.
And they were interacting.
And those that weren't being held hostage were outside trying to help the hostages get out.
Exactly. So I don't understand this whole, so-and-so shouldn't be in this story. No, shut up.
Yeah.
Are they on the show? Then they should be in the story. If the writers are like, they deserve, this is a place for this person in this story, then that's how it goes, Buttercup.
Yeah.
Nobody owns a story on this dang show.
No, and that's what it boils down to. They live in the same city. They're going to interact, regardless if even if it's used as a way to move the story along. to the next beat, to the next step,
Right.
or get some background information out during a conversation, you know?
Except, well, the reason characters like Carly, like Erica, like Reva, like Vicky, the reason, like, Carly on As the World Turns, the reason these characters are involved in so many other things is that they are drivers of story.
Correct.
Because they eavesdrop and they gossip and they confront and they fly off that's why soaps, that's why these characters are the biggest characters on soaps, more so than heroines.
Yep.
Who just mind their own business.
Yeah.
And soaps need that to drive story.
Well, look at the whole situation now with Ava. Okay. Ava releasing the recording of Natalia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that Ava and Sonny are currently in a storyline over custody of Avery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's its own nucleus storyline right now. She releases the audio of somebody completely unrelated to Sonny, unrelated to the situation of the kid, the custody. And what did it do? It produced a new story for Blaze, for Christina, for Natalia, for Sonny, for Brooklyn. Now Brooklyn's being pulled in, and
The deception crew.
Deception and Nina, and they're having Perez Hilton on there, So it's a driver of the story, the storytelling.
Exactly.
Ava could have easily released a recording of Sonny going off the handle and kept that story just between the two of them. But no, it was a way to create a new storyline and to bring,
Right.
and you know what, and to bring, because it was Pride Month, to bring more recognition to Pride,
Right.
because it was a bigoted statement from Natalia.
Mm-hmm. And people say, one of the biggest complaints, and I have had this complaint about some of the writers on General Hospital too, is that they're allergic to drama. This is drama and soapiness. We're getting it. Drew and Nina and
Yes.
Willow. That's dramatic soapiness. Our soap opera is soaping. Jason double cross, betrayed by Jagger. Anna doing the wrong thing as police commissioner, but the right thing is somebody in love. That is a soap opera.
Yes.
We have found the drama again.
Yeah, and it's okay to like or hate any specific characters on the show. As of right now, I want to wring Anna's neck because she screwed Jason over. And I don't, and maybe that's because I could be a sociopath and I don't care as long as I get my way in real life. But if for coming from Jason's point of view, he had his ticket out from under Kate's.
Right.
When Anna goes to Jason and says, I've got the phone right here, I've got all the information you need, here's all the evidence, but I can't give it to you. What the fuck? Like, I wanted Jason to take her by the throat and choke slam her at that point, and that's it.
What's really funny is that, see, I'm a huge Darlie fan, as you know. This is not news. I loved it because I love them being in this whole situation together. So I'm like, ooh, Pikeman's not over. Ooh, FBI's not over. Jason's still doing this for Carly. You know what I mean? I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it.
As somebody who's rooting for Jason to get out from under it, because you want to get to the end game, and you know what? The end game, which I'm coming to realize, is Jason and Carly together.
Welcome to the dark side.
But see, here's the thing: is that rooting for Jason, and I'm gonna make the analogy to wrestling. When you're looking at the baby face, and WrestleMania 39 last year, Cody Rhodes is fighting Roman Reigns to finish the story. He goes to give him his finisher once, twice. He goes for the third crossroads, and what happens? Solo Sikoa gets up on the apron, gives him the Samoan spike. Reigns hits the spear, 1, 2, 3, end of the match. You're disappointed. You're not going home happy because the heel won, the babyface lost. And
Right.
if you're going into a scene as a fan, looking
Yes.
looking at the way that Jason and Anna had gone through that,
Yeah.
and Anna says, "I've got the information right here, but I can't give it to you," or
Right.
give me 2 hours before you give it to Kate's or whatever, so that
Right.
I can go warn Valentine. I'm sorry if I'm Jason, I'd be like, "Fuck you!" Like I'm trying to get my life back. I've been gone too long. And then
Yes.
we get the new wrinkle today on today's show where Kate wants to send him to another prison.
Yeah.
Find out the information about another gang
Yeah.
because he's holding the Carly situation over his head because now he blames uh, Jason for
Jason for Valentin
right.
running off. Right. Yeah, I'm excited about all of this. I'm excited for the Carly and Jagger confrontation later this week.
Yep.
Whenever that is, it's going to be really great.
Oh yeah.
I think Sonny is going to tell Jagger that he'll get the information. I think Jason's going to tell Jagger he'll get the information on Sonny, but try to play him to buy some time.
Yeah.
I still think Brennan is going to help.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think he's gonna, a connection of his or something is gonna get rid of that tape of Carly, and that'll be the end of that. And that will be because otherwise, we know Jason's not going to Lompoc,
Right. Exactly.
and we know he's not gonna turn Sonny in, sadly. But so. But yeah, so something's gonna have to happen to the evidence.
Oh yeah.
Because even getting rid of Jagger doesn't do it because it's on the FBI server. Something has to
Right.
happen to the evidence.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I'm looking forward. I really am.
That's what I'm loving about the show right now is that it's so unpredictable.
Mhm.
We don't know as fans which way they're going. Yes,
Right.
we know some things behind the scenes. We know that, Jonathan Jackson is coming in as Lucky at some point,
Yep.
and you hear other rumors. But we don't know from day to day what is going on. I never would have seen in a million years Willow going directly to Nina and saying, "I kissed Drew."
Yeah, that was insane and a vast overreaction.
Yeah,
I mean, again, it's soapy drama, but
right.
I thought that was a little bit. Willow's absolute meltdown was a little bit much for me, but
But that's the character.
yeah,
Because,
that's true. Well, yes and no, because she had no problem cheating on Chase.
well, that's true.
So
But but to be fair, that marriage to Chase was more of a marriage of a dying
true,
man's wish who didn't die.
true.
So
Oh, I understand that. I'm just like, it's not like it's her first cheating rodeo, and it was just a kiss. I
right.
mean, it just seemed insane for a kiss. I still can't get over Nina telling her not to say anything.
No,
I'm
that's
just
what
like,
Nina. But that's a selfish reason for Nina, because Nina wants to be able to use this in some way against Drew.
oh, true, but it just cracks me up that it it just all the secrets of Nina's that have been exposed.
Yes, very true. Very true. And that's just one more reason for Michael not to trust you when the finally
Mm-hmm.
does come out. Is that
Yeah,
you knew and you told her to keep this from me?
yeah, exactly.
But then Nina gets right on the phone and calls Drew to her office and says, "Get your ass down here. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're in a meeting. I need to see you now." And then she punches him right in the
Oh
face.
yeah, she punched him right. Oh, right in the kisser.
Yep. And he's like, "I guess I deserve that." Um,
Right. He's like, fair enough.
yep.
My bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but it's been so good this
Oh
week.
yeah.
Everything going on. Um,
Jason and Carly on the bridge.
yes, Jason and Carly on the bridge talking about everything, and they're gonna rehash everything, and Jason's gonna be like, or Carly's gonna be like, "I wish I could have done something. I would go turn myself in," and it's like, "No, I'm not gonna let you."
No, nope, nope. And I love when he told her, there's no debt between us.
Yeah,
because that was
And
so them.
that right there, that conversation is what made me realize that that Jason and Carly are endgame.
Are And this is the writing that they have gotten for 25 years. I
Yeah,
can show you scenes going back to 1999 that they get these little deeply bonded scenes like this. When Jake was hit by the car,
yep.
Carly thought for a while that it was her who did it and went right to
I
Jason,
remember, yeah.
and he was like, "You didn't do it. And if you did, it was an accident."
Yeah.
His kid had just died,
Yeah.
but it was Carly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Korte has been playing the long game with these two.
And that's the thing is that I like the long game. Not
Oh
everybody
yeah.
does. I'll admit that. The patience of the general pop nowadays in today's society is the patience of a
Oh
flea. Like,
yes.
and you see that in all forms of entertainment, whether it's sitcoms or whether it's, I mean, hell, they can't even put on a full opening theme anymore because people just want to get to the meat of the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at the writing the way it was 20, 30 years ago, and it had long-term storytelling where a a story could go on for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months to a year or more,
Yeah.
and not lose steam because everybody is interested in it. Nowadays, people just want like this, and you're done.
Right.
Um, and that's just the society is now.
Oh
For
yeah. It's funny because as soon as we heard that, when we had a general idea of when he was coming back,
Mhm.
we have a Jason Carly group chat on Twitter, and I told them, I'm like, I don't see them actually hooking up before November. And I have gotten so much blowback from that, but I'm just like, I'm serious, guys. We'll get stuff, but I don't think they're going to go there before November. I just don't. I think it's going to be a slow burn. Both of the actors talked about how it was rushed last time.
Yep.
I think it's gonna, and I get, oh God, the pull, and I'm just like, oh please, Chase in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
How long did it take them to have their first kiss from the time she knocked him over the head with the bottle, and everybody knew
Right.
that they were going to be a couple at that point?
Hmm.
This is so that, but that's how it's supposed to be
Right.
too with the couples. It's not supposed to be, instantly together in hearts and flowers.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's boring.
Um, So, before we get into more story-based stuff, we did have some big news come out of the camp of days this week that head writer, now former head writer Ron Carlivati has stepped away. Whether he was
Mm-hmm.
asked to leave or chose to leave is,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know. But there are people calling for him to come back to GH. Do you
It's
see
not going to
that?
happen. So, um, when GH had their 60th anniversary,
Yep.
Ron made a post on
Yeah, I remember it was a snarky
Instagram,
kind of post. Yep.
and he was sincerely congratulating, but he said, that, there were apologies he was owed, he was never going to get.
Yeah.
The day that Ron's firing was announced, Maurice Bernard released a video online of him dancing in celebration.
Yeah. So he ain't coming back.
Ron will not come back to this show as long as Mo is there, and probably not as long as Frank is there. I don't know if, his problem is as much Frank as it was Maurice Bernard, but it's, if Mo is on screen, I don't see Ron stepping foot. And if Ron were to come back to General Hospital, we know Sonny's leaving, that Mo's retiring.
Right.
If it was announced that Ron's coming back to General Hospital, I would bet my house that Sonny's gone within a year.
Yeah. So
Because
that brings up the question of where do you think Ronald will land next? Do you
I
think
don't know. I would like to see him at Bold. I think Bold would be a great, you could really use his shakeup of things.
Mhm.
Um,
Do you see him potentially going to the gates?
um, Potentially, yeah. I mean, he wouldn't be head writer, but a lot of the times they'll take lower positions.
Yeah,
He also could, you know, go to one of the, there are some, new online ones that are,
yeah.
pretty well financed. He could go to one of those.
So
He could go to one that a new online one starting that we haven't heard about yet. I
yeah,
mean, Ron's not hurting for money.
right.
No, I'm pretty
He's
sure he
on the
lives.
beach right now, anyways.
Oh, constantly. You go on his Instagram, he's constantly, on the water at his beachfront, whatever, and on the East
I
Coast.
mean, and even though he's gone from days, his stuff is still airing on days until April of
April. Oh yeah, they're so far ahead.
yeah.
And I liked Ron. I didn't hate him on GH and I loved him on days. But I also support this
Mhm.
because I think that no head writing team
Well,
or head writer should last more
seven
than
years,
5 years.
yeah, 7 years is a long time for a
Right.
head writer.
I think 5 years tops,
Yeah,
and probably even 3 or 4 would be better because with the amount of content they have to put out, it makes them to
it's a
go
burnout.
back to the well. It's
Yeah,
burnout. And they've run out of ideas.
yeah,
All these head writers come on like gangbusters and then fizzle out because they stay too long.
yeah.
And I'm also thrilled. And I mean, I am not denigrating the male audience of soap operas at all. You are one.
Mhm.
And I love every, viewer. But soap operas
Mhm.
traditionally were a genre created for women
Yes,
and in large part by women.
yeah,
Um, and one of the big problems with soaps is too many men are leading the ships.
makes sense.
Every executive producer except Days of Our Lives is a male,
Yep,
and she's new to it.
yeah.
Janet was just put into place a few months ago.
Mhm.
Until Korte, every head writer was male.
Yes,
And you can tell one of the biggest problems that soaps have is with romance.
yeah.
And I really think, and
It's a guy. It's because it's coming from a guy's point of view.
exactly. And, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's women view romance differently than men do. Like the
Yep.
twins, Chris Van Eaton and Dan O'Connor.
Mhm.
They were fine with like the big moments,
Yeah.
Ozils and stuff like that. They sucked at the build,
Mhm.
horrendous at the build. It was so then you'd be like, oh, they're in love when, huh? How did
Yeah.
that happen?
You're right.
You know, and that is because those little moments, it's just like that thing where you think, the wives are like, oh, our anniversary of our first date and our anniversary of our first kiss, and the guy's like, all right, let me write this down because I sure as fuck don't remember that
And
shit.
it's completely opposite in my marriage. I'm the one that remembers the dates, and my wife can't remember the dates at all. So, yeah,
But like a lot of men would be like, I remember my wedding anniversary. Why do I need to remember what date we first kissed? Or, you know what I mean? I'm sure
yeah,
you
oh
know
yeah,
a lot, the vast majority,
yeah,
they're like, we're married. Why do I need to remember more than one anniversary? Just
right,
remember that big one. We got all those pictures. People came to get gifts, and the littler moments are what women tend to
yeah,
love, which is why those damn Hallmark movies are so, you
right,
know,
yeah,
because those are all little moments, wrapped up in a nice little bow for them,
oh yeah, yeah,
and that's what one of the biggest problems all of the shows have. And I think it's because not enough women are holding the pens or in
that
charge
makes
of the
sense.
pens.
I mean, and it's it's funny you bring that up because my way of thinking about it, and I always look at it this way, is the way you brought up that men suck at the build, and I'll be the first one to admit I completely understand that. But when you have a head writer, the head writer is mapping out where the stories are going for the year.
Mhm.
But don't you have other writers to put the scenes together as, like fine tuning the actual scenes? And then you have the breakdown writers and everything. So you do have women on writing staffs.
You do. But so the head writers do the broad stroke, this is how the story's going to go.
Right. Yeah.
But, and the breakdown writers, assign what scenes are going to build that, you know what I mean? But if there's not, like, if a cast this size,
yeah,
it's, they don't, unless they're specifically told that this moment needs to occur.
mm-hmm.
And that usually will only happen with the big moments.
Yeah.
And then it's okay, whose minimums do we have to deal with and all of that.
Right.
So, but like, I think that, and Korte is a very hands-on head writer.
Mm-hmm.
She was a hands-on associate head writer. She was the script doctor. She was, multiple writers have said how she changed dialogue and changed stuff in their scripts because she was the last stop of the scripts before they went. And a lot of the actors called her the head writer even before she became the head writer.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very hands-on and much more.
And the actors enjoying their current, their stories. And that's the thing that the audience doesn't seem to understand, is that if the actors were not happy, we would hear about it.
Yeah, we have heard about it.
We have.
We have absolutely heard about it multiple times. Actors complain, especially in this day of social media.
Yes.
A lot of them don't have filters, and a lot of them do events where they'll say things.
Yep.
And if the actors weren't happy, even if they weren't saying outright what they were angry about, they wouldn't be out there praising it.
Right. Exactly.
Not like they are.
Right. Exactly.
They wouldn't be praising it like they are.
All right.
And another thing, real quick, another thing people say is they're like, oh, this is so horrible what they're doing to poor Cynthia Watros, or poor this person, or poor this. These actors they're on soap operas and they're actors. They love the soapy mess.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want to play happily ever after sitting on a couch snuggling. Yep. They want the soapy mess and drama. That's
the genre.
Exactly. Laura Wright says her favorite stuff to play is when Carly is pulling shenanigans.
Yeah.
So
it gives them more of a range of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody could sit on the couch cuddling, watching TV. But when you actually get into the heat of the moment, when it's Carly and Nina on a collision course, and and for whatever reason, whether it's Nina calling Carly from Nixon Falls and say, hey, your husband is here, I found your husband, but before she can get the words out, Carly goes off and says, you're calling about, I think it was about Anna or whatever, and you're calling about this, you're not getting custody, blah 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 blah, this, that, the other thing. Okay, well, hell, that just changed my mind. I'm trying to be gracious here.
Right.
And you're going off, biting my head off for whatever reason. I think maybe it was about Willow and James. But, or Willow and
Wiley.
Yeah. But it's like you're going off on me for no reason. I'm not gonna say anything. And then when it comes off, I tried to call you.
Right.
But you jumped down my throat for no reason. That's the kind of shit that makes the show enjoying.
And what would have happened? And those things have to happen.
Yeah.
Because if Carly hadn't done that,
But
Nina would have just told her Sonny was there. Oh, story over. That's
yes,
another thing. They're
exactly.
like, why does she have to stick her nose? Because that's what's going to prolong the story.
Yes,
That's
exactly. I mean, and who knows? Maybe, they're I love the girls over at Pier 54 because they keep track of the storylines that go nowhere. And at the end of the
Mhm.
year, on their end of year episode, they'll go through all the storylines that, um, that went nowhere, that were dropped or whatever.
Mhm.
Last year at the end of the year when Austin was killed, we still don't know who killed Austin.
No.
And Roger Howarth was told, "Oh, we just need to do it as part of moving the story along."
Mhm.
And then the story was dropped. Obviously, they had to um, release Roger Howarth to make room for Steve Burton to come back, and it just had to happen. And then the writer's strike, and the new head writers came in, and
Yeah.
so there was just so much that was going on that, of course, there are going to be stories that are dropped.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's when something progresses a story and makes something have even more drama, that's when the show is enjoyable.
Right.
That is what a soap opera is
Right.
supposed to be about.
Well, it's like, you're infuriated with Anna, but
Yeah,
it caused more drama.
exactly. Yes.
It didn't just, okay, Jagger
If
shaking
the
Jason's
show,
hand.
yeah,
Thank you for your help. You're
yeah,
free to go.
yes,
Then what?
exactly. End of the storyline. Where do you go from there?
Right. Exactly.
It's and here's the thing. And again, I go back to wrestling. When Hulk Hogan had creative control in WCW, basically in his contract, he had final say over a number of different things that his character did. If he got a story pitched to him and he's, was sitting there and he's like, that doesn't work for me, brother. And a lot of the younger wrestlers at the time were like, he tried to hold me back. He didn't want to do this. He didn't want to do that, blah, 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 blah. Question is where do we go next? You
Right.
want me to do this? Where do we go next?
Right.
What story are we trying to tell? And that's what it boils down to. The same thing with soaps is that where do you go next? Okay, if you know you're going to end one story, go to another, you have to have a bridge. You have to be able to pull something from that, from a previous conversation, a
Hmm.
previous interaction in order to move on to the next storyline.
Right.
Let's say that, if it was to happen where Jagger goes to Jason and says, hey, your time under me is done. We got Pikeman, we got Valentine, whatever. Let's shake on it. And let's just say there was a bug in the room because the WSB was listening because Jagger's a dirty cop. Now
Right.
you have a new storyline for Jagger to go to, and you have something else for Jason. But you need to have that piece, that next step planned out. Now it's more story.
Right.
Now Jason has more of a you know problem with Jagger because he thought he was done, and what
Right.
he said to him today. My job was to get you the information on Valentine. The fact that you can't find him or arrest him, that's on you, and that's
Right.
valid. That's warranted. But then Jagger comes back and says, "Well, you
Yeah.
know what? If you can't find Valentine, it's still on you because even if we don't have a case against Valentine, you know what case we do have that's solid? The United States against Carly Spencer. And
Yep.
that right there, Jason's hands are tied.
Hmm.
So,
Yep.
yeah. Um,
Because Carly going to prison is not an option for Jason.
exactly.
So,
All right. Let's move on a little bit.
okay.
So obviously, Willow told Nina that she kissed Drew. Nina had the reaction, brought Drew into her office, punched him in the face. Uh,
Hmm.
and then we did see Sonny go pay a trip to Nina as
Yes.
he seems to be on his on his tour of ex-wives, trying to get people to speak to
Yeah.
his character for Ava.
Ex-wives and baby mamas. Yeah, he went to Carly,
Exactly.
then went to Alexis, and then yeah.
Yeah. And he's trying to corral all them to talk nice about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then on today's episode, he tried to get Michael. And oh my God, and here's the thing is that you can see, and Maurice Bernard is fantastic at these roles,
Mm-hmm.
when he's playing Sonny that's unhinged. And
Mm-hmm.
he's said it that a lot of times, and he had to take 2 weeks off of filming
Mm-hmm.
because I'm assuming it was this part that he was filming, or something pretty recent
Yeah.
triggered his own bipolar and anxiety.
And his anxiety, yeah. Yeah.
And you have to
Yeah.
feel for somebody like that who not
Mm-hmm.
only does he in real life suffer from this, his character does too. So
Right.
there's a blurring of the lines, and you just feel for him while he's trying to stay professional. And Frank gave him a couple weeks off, but eventually he
Right.
said, if you don't come
You gotta,
back,
we're gonna have
you have
to
to
recast
recast.
temporarily. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was a really good scene today, but I was just every accusation from Sonny is a confession.
Yeah,
And he said to Michael, oh, you can't stand me until you want something. And I'm just like, wait, what?
yeah,
No. That's reversed.
right.
That's reversed. And Michael's trying to be reasonable. Diane's
Yep.
like, yeah, he's right, and Sonny is just, yeah.
You
And
know,
this is going to be carrying
and
on
Diane
for
kind
a
of put
few
him in his
more
place
weeks.
too. Yeah. And Diane kind of put him in his place and said, no, Michael was trying to help you.
Yeah.
No, you get so emotionally attached to the characters because
Mhm.
which is fantastic. And it hasn't happened in a long time, in my opinion. But just as you're watching Sonny, whether you're a fan of the character or not, it's like you're watching him and you're watching his descent into madness, for lack of a better term, because he's off his meds. He's only getting a placebo, so all of this is wreaking havoc on him, and he's starting to spiral very similar to the way Morgan spiraled
Mhm.
right before what happened, because again, Ava tampered with the medication. Now this time it was Valentine first, and Ava kind of went and said, make it all full placebo.
Right.
Um, but either way, you really got to feel for the guy, and you just
Yeah, I'm a bad person. I don't feel for him. I'm hoping he meets the same end as Morgan did, quite frankly. I know I'm not getting that lucky, but because my thing is that I've just watched Sonny too long, and I know that right now he's spiraling and this is a descent into madness, but I have seen Sonny do these things while on his medication too.
yeah.
So and I have, we all see it differently. My heart will never bleed for Sonny Corinthos. Ever. Ever. My heart will never bleed for that man. It just won't.
Well,
So,
and I completely understand that, because coming into it, obviously Maurice being a lead actor and everything, he's always portrayed as the sympathetic one, the mobster with a heart of gold. But he's actually, at this point in time, he's being positioned as not the person that can do no wrong. He's had people finally call him out on his stuff, and he doesn't like it.
but what makes me crazy is that they're giving him the medication excuse, though. That's the thing, is that, they're going to be like, they're going to find this out eventually, and then it's going to be no harm, no foul. Even though he was on his meds when he cheated on Carly and threw Jason's death in her face. He was on his meds when he sided with Nina against Michael.
Yes.
And told Michael that, when he wanted his forgiveness, he was going to have to beg for it. You know what I mean? He was on his meds when all of that stuff was happening.
Right.
So, but this is going to be. Did you ever read the op-ed I wrote about Sonny's abuse excuse?
No, I don't think I have.
I'm going to have to send that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But all right. So Natalia kind of apologized a little bit last
Mhm.
in a more of a growing term. She did voice her remorse because she went to Ava and asked, why did you record me? And you know what? Ava, to her credit, told her the truth and said, listen, I was doing something for work. I didn't realize it was recorded. But then with
Right.
your hateful words, I knew this was too good to pass up.
Right.
You know, I wanted to, and Nathan did say I read the op-ed about Sunny when it first came out, and it was well done.
Oh, thank you, Nathan.
Um, so we did have a little bit of growth for Natalia, and she even said she's trying to come to terms you know, with her daughter and her choice of living and being in a relationship with Christina, and this and that
Hmm.
and the other thing. And you know what? It's when Ava said that, she just actually forgot how she reacted, because that was kind of just a quick scene and it really didn't have a lot to it. Um, but the better scene, I should say, was Natalia actually going to Sunny and saying, I need your help.
Hmm.
I've done my research. I know you used to own a record label, uh,
Hmm.
or finance a record label, and I want to help get my daughter's career back on track.
Yes.
And he said, okay, well, I have no problem helping out, but here's the caveat: Brooklyn is running it.
Hmm.
And I like that because it almost because Natalia had to eat crow and
Right.
she had to be vulnerable. And
Yes.
Brooklyn basically said, you're not going to have any involvement. You're
Hmm.
not going to take interviews. You know, I'm doing this because I believe in Blaze, and she should never have been dropped from her label and yada yada yada. So
Right.
it's end up being the rebirth of L&B Records. Only it's going to be, I assume, Lois and
Hmm.
Brooklyn, um,
Yeah.
instead of Lois and Brenda. But
Hmm.
either way, um, they set up the interview with Perez Hilton. They're having a little bit of cold feet. They're kind of doing a mock interview today.
Yep.
Um, I am loving this story.
Hmm.
I am. I know that people are going to keep calling out Natalia for being her, homophobic and whatever, which is still a misnomer because she's not afraid of,
Yes.
you know, I that
It's
just
what the word is now. That's,
I,
we just have to accept it. It was mislabeled a long time ago. It's like the whole global warming thing. Then, people purposely misunderstood it or totally misunderstood it. So then they were like, all right, listen, climate change. But they're like, no, too late. It's already global warming. Suck it. So
um,
her
but
mama
yeah,
named her homophobia. We're going to call her homophobia.
so it comes to the point. I do see the character growth, but from the beginning, it's like I also saw Natalia's point of view coming from a Catholic upbringing and based in the Bible and everything, and not to the point where I have anything against anybody from the LGBTQ
Mm,
movement, but it's at the same point where you know if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Like I have no problem with it. It's just you know you do you, whatever
yeah.
makes you happy. That's the way I've always looked at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Me too. I was raised Catholic as well.
so it's like, and yeah, you learn to evolve over time, and sometimes when you're at a certain age, things start to pass you by, and it's just sometimes you can't teach an
Mhm.
old dog new tricks, and you can't just be so quick to think that somebody can change years and years of
Yeah.
programming and thought processes and everything. You can't just change on a dime.
True. That is very true. I have never had a problem with it. So it
Yeah,
wasn't something that I had to evolve from, but I know a lot of people who did.
yeah.
And yeah.
All right, so can we just, and maybe I would have probably gotten a lot more praise had I made it instead of making my post about Elizabeth Korte, making it about Jane Elliott. Because the scene
Oh,
between her and Cody, but Tracy and Cody, Tracy and Gio, just
she's just great.
gold.
Yeah, she's just fabulous.
You know,
That's it. She's just 10 out of 10, no notes.
Tracy has turned a new leaf, and we know it's from the relationship or whatever, the influence of Gregory,
Mhm.
and not to mention I like how she said that she's more like her father,
Yeah.
you know, but if her mother knew that it would make one bug cooler, she'd open all the doors for the
Yes.
to go out. Um,
Well, that's one of the things I love about Tracy. She has no illusions about herself.
no, she doesn't.
And she doesn't pretend to be something she's not, which is another it's like Carly.
Yeah,
Neither of them play the damsel in distress because they know that that's not who they are.
right.
I'm a bitch, but if I love you, I love you. Deal with it.
Yeah. Um, and
So,
the scene. Okay, so James is what, 6 years old, 7 years old?
yeah, I think
He
so.
took a ride share to the stable. Oh my God. Like I can't. That's the one thing where I couldn't, you know, that's where I kind of couldn't take myself out of. But I mean, kids today have their own phones, and of course it was explained. He took Georgie's phone, and which means
And
that
she's a
Georgie
teenager,
has
basically.
and she either has her own credit card or her parents, their parents don't have the alert set up on their saying, on their
Well,
phone saying,
Uber actually has a kids thing where you can set it
right,
up for your kids to, you know what I mean? Which is
right.
probably
But if
what
it
they're
was your
implying
credit
that
card,
Georgie had.
Maxie or Spinelli would have gotten an alert saying Uber, uh, authorized so much on your card
Right.
for a ride. But whatever, we'll choose to suspend disbelief. So he goes to see
Again, this show had an alien living in above Anna's garage.
that
And
was
a big giant diamond that could control a machine that could control the world's weather.
yes,
Don't
true.
get bogged down in the ride share thing. Please.
um,
The
but
ride share can't be where you draw the line.
yeah, but it was nice to see a kid that wasn't just used as a prop,
Mm-hmm.
where James actually came in and said, Grandpa Max said I can't come here to ride anymore. And, I just wanted to come and see if there was something I could do because something I did because kids always, whether it's for whatever reason, kids are always like, I did something wrong, whether it's a divorce, whether it's whatever. Kids always internalize the struggle and take it on themselves because they
Yes.
don't understand. Um,
Yes.
but Cody calls Maxie and Maxie and Spinelli come over and they talk things through and um I I had a laugh when Maxie said, "You guys must think we're horrible
Yeah.
parents." He looks at Tracy and says, "You shut up."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, I don't want to hear it from you, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was, yeah.
it was.
Maxie was really great. I thought Maxie and Spinelli were really great in those scenes. And then when they got home with Georgie,
Yeah.
it's just like, you're not helping. Stop it. But the siblings fighting, I thought it was really great family stuff.
But and it's like I like how Maxie kind of broached the subject, saying that
Mhm.
Mac has a problem or whatever, and Georgie asks, "Oh, like Violet's grandfather." Um,
Yeah. No, 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 no. Yeah.
and I was like, "No, he's not sick." But what he does, he also doesn't make the decision about where you go riding.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about it as a family and blah blah blah. And I thought that was handled very well.
I did too. I really want to see the scene with Maxie and Mac, though.
Yes,
I
I do.
really want to see that scene. I really do. I don't know if we're going to, but I want to see that scene with her going, listen, I love you. I support you and whatever, that's fine. I'm not trying to whatever, but I'm letting him have writing lessons from Cody, and that's how that goes.
But I mean, unless Mac and Felicia are paying for the lessons, then they have a say on where he goes.
Right. But Felicia would be like, yeah,
Yeah,
he's going to Cody.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Mac is outnumbered in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um. But and then Cody calls Sasha down because he just had to, get it off his chest about how bad he felt James, was feeling bad. And I liked how Cody said, I like that kid. He's like family. And she's like, hello. He is
Hello. Yeah.
family.
McFly.
Yeah.
He is family, dumbass. Yeah.
Um, but but before that, Tracy goes to Cody, if you leave without a 30-day notice, you don't get the insurance, you don't get
Yes. The recommended. Yeah.
severance pay, you don't get a recommendation, and that's Tracy's way of coming out and being like, no, we like you, stay here.
Exactly. I don't want you to leave. Yeah. That is exactly Tracy's way of, yeah. Money is her love language.
Yeah. And again, for those of you who are watching, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and give that like button a push. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the bells for the notification. So anything that gets posted here on Suds Media, Suds in the Squared Circle, you get notified. Thank you so much for watching. If you're listening on the podcast feed, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening and find your favorite podcast. Remember, we are on iHeartRadio. We are on Amazon Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeart. We're on Pocket Casts, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that we are on. So again, I do appreciate you guys coming in and watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, get notified, because we're going to be doing a lot more going forward. But let's see. We did have, and then we had Tracy and Gio, them getting to know each other. And I didn't get it because I didn't watch The City, but Tracy had a good Easter egg in the conversation.
Yes.
Why does everybody from New York call New York City the city?
The city. Yeah. That was very cute because, yeah.
I didn't realize it until I listened to one of the other podcasts from this past weekend. I think it was James Law Jr., I think, who pointed out.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But
he is
that was a fantastic
yeah.
They were just talking about just everything, and I kind of like this week because there were a lot of conversations that were bonding for different characters.
Yep.
Tracy and Gio, Dex and Chase. Dex being a Dodgers fan.
I loved the Dex and Chase conversation. I really enjoyed that, and we got a little bit more insight into Dex's past.
Yep.
Which I liked.
Yes.
So.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I really enjoyed this week. I mean, I've been enjoying GH for quite a while now.
Me too.
And then again, you get Joss and Trina on Friday by the pool, and this is the closure that I think Trina needed for her relationship, because I think it was Joss found her dove,
right?
Dove. And that kind of brought this stuff back, and that's what gave Trina closure,
right?
So now that she's free to move on to Gio,
right? Exactly.
But I mean, overall, the show
and Joss was a really great friend to her in those scenes. Yes. Very, very.
It was Trina centered. It wasn't Joss hogging the spotlight, which he always gets blamed for.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. Let's see. Ava and Scott strategized a little bit today over the custody case. And that's and then earlier in the week, Lois goes to Gio and offers him to go down to New York City to play with to play down there, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
Turn it down. He wants to go to PCU. He wants to be in the, performances there,
Mhm.
which is all valid reasons for a
Yeah.
college kid moving into, you know, I
And Joss was a good friend to him there as well,
yeah,
talking to him about how, it's okay to want different things from
yeah, no,
yeah.
I talked to my son actually today. Um, for our because our birthdays are 3 weeks apart, we're getting
Hmm.
matching tattoos this year.
Oh,
So
nice.
I said, okay, well, we'll do it on this date. And he's like, so I can't do that date because that date is band camp for his, for college. Um,
One
and I'm
time
like, okay, well
at
then,
band camp. Sorry,
yeah.
I have to say it.
Oh well, I mean, he's been doing that for years now, but yeah.
It's a rule.
Yeah,
You got
yeah,
to
you have
say
to.
it. You
Exactly.
have to say it. There's a rule.
But yeah, I mean, it's like he's got his own schedule, he's got his own stuff to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, okay, we'll push it back a week,
Yeah.
and that'll work. But yeah, I mean, for Geo to say nope, I've already made commitments to PCU, and I'm
Mhm.
playing for for the gallery and this and that. So he's shaping up to be a really good person, keeping his loyalty.
Mhm.
And if it, we'll see what his paternity is going.
Yes.
Found out a little bit about his mother. She was
Yep.
a violinist,
Hmm.
and she ended up passing away, I think it was.
Yep.
And his father apparently passed away during
In
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Yep.
But
And
it,
he had that little moment with Jason
yeah,
at the pool.
yep.
And yeah, I still think
I think
he's
it's
going to be
gonna be Drew.
Drews. I think it's going to be Drew. Absolutely. I do. I think it's so as well. Yeah, I think he's going to be Drew's. I think he's going to think he's Jason's,
Yeah.
and then he'll find out that he's
You
Drew's.
think that Dex and Geo could be brothers, and then Drew's a sister of
Um,
both?
Possibly, but I still think there's a chance that Dex is Jason's. I also think they could make Dex Brennan's.
That's a twist that I don't.
The way he's talked about his father,
Yeah,
that could be Brennan.
it could definitely be Brennan.
And he grew up with a father in the WSB. He went into the military.
Yeah. Hmm.
I could see it. I could absolutely see that, which would
And I
be,
could I could also see it as Drew because sometimes that military runs in the family. So Drew being in the
yeah.
Navy, in the
Mhm.
SEAL, and then same thing with
A girl in every port.
yeah, exactly.
And his
Uh,
father was actually his stepfather. He just didn't know it. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, they could absolutely do that. I like the Drew and or the Dex and Geo friendship that they have going too.
I do too. Yes.
Like a lot of people are like, a lot of people seem to think that they're going to do a triangle, but I'm like, they're not.
No,
Geo, there is nothing romantic or flirty or anything with Joss and Geo.
no, not at all.
It is very friendly. He has no animosity or jealousy towards Dex.
Yeah.
Geo is for Trina. People
Yes.
just have to accept that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go through the stages of grief,
Yeah.
and you're just gonna have to deal with this fact.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think we've covered just about everything.
Hmm.
So we are about out of time. I am about out of energy.
Yeah.
Been up for at this point, let's see, got up at 3 a.m. So 20 hours. I've been up now because I can't nap, regardless of so not everybody can nap. I'm the
Hmm.
kind of person I got out of work at 1:30 this afternoon or 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I knew I had take two from 7 to 9 and then this at 10. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to take a nap from like 2:30 to 6. I just can't. So I've got iced tea that's got caffeinated, and but now it's time for bed.
Yeah, caffeine can only do so much for you.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Um, you know what, folks? Let me put it this way: I don't care if you don't agree with my opinions. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, whether it's on politics or television or wrestling or whatever. Your opinion is your opinion, and you're entitled to it. I think we've kind of lost that, you know, in the social media society nowadays where everybody thinks that you have to think one way and that's all there is to it. It's not like that.
People can't get out of their own bubble. It's like saying, how can there be world hunger? I just had a sandwich.
Exactly. Yes. But the fact remains is that if you agree with me, you agree with me. If you don't, you don't. That's what makes it okay, because we all have it. However, if you don't like General Hospital, and we do see things and we do disagree on part of, whatever, feel free to put it in the chat and we'll talk about it. If you're controversial enough and you really want to get heard, we'll bring you on. I'll send you the Zoom link to come on and you could talk about it. But you can't do it just on Twitter and quote post with a laughing, does nothing.
Right.
So it's like you're just showing your ignorance at that point.
Exactly.
And you will be called a troll and you'll be called a hater. But if you can engage in a intelligent conversation, and that goes for any subject.
Yep.
As long as
Absolutely.
you're not name calling or ridiculing or whatever, and it happens on Twix, it happens on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But as long as you can have an intelligent conversation and explain why you disagree, more power to you. You may have to agree to disagree, but that's what it boils down to.
There are things that are objective, things that are subjective.
Yes.
Things that actually happened on screen.
Yeah.
Facts of the show. Multiple members of Sonny's family have suggested to him there's a problem with his medications.
Yes.
This is a fact.
Yes.
Chemistry, romantic or otherwise. Talent. Beauty or, good looks.
Yeah. Yep.
Style. All of these things are subjective.
Yes, exactly.
All of them. And you have your own opinion. You not seeing chemistry between a couple doesn't mean that I don't see chemistry between a couple.
Yep.
Those are all, it's 100% subjective.
Yes, it is.
Stop acting like it's not.
Right.
Stop acting like your opinion is the only one that matters and that's how it goes. Knock it off.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that now that Sabrina is over, because there's still people living in denial.
There are going to be people living in denial forever.
I just, if you were watching the show specifically for one couple, you're missing the reality of the show. You're missing the reason the show is on.
And people need to remember, arguably, the most famous super couple of all soapdom was Luke and Laura.
Yes.
Period. Not that there aren't other great super couples. Of course there are. But I'm talking about most known in the mainstream.
Yes, exactly.
General Hospital did not only end them, they salted and burned the remains.
Yep.
And neither of them were the other's endgame.
Correct.
So I don't know why anybody else thinks that their couple is somehow sacred.
Yeah. You're exactly right. And as we saw, Nicholas Alexander Chavez got a better job offer and decided that his career was going to take off, and he left GH. Is his door open to come back? Maybe, maybe not. Will they recast? Maybe, maybe not. But you're not going to catch lightning in a bottle twice.
And I mean, you might, but that's not what's happening right now.
Exactly.
Right now, Gio is on screen and he is for Trina.
Yeah.
And you can kick, you can scream, you can cry, you can call out the advertisers, you can do whatever you want. But Gio is on screen and he's for Trina. Mm-hmm. And when they cast Gio as Gio was when they decided not to recast Spencer.
Exactly.
And that's not saying that that's a permanent decision forever and ever and ever till whenever.
Oh, you know what?
Right now, what is on screen is this.
Speaking about on screen, and one other thing I do want to bring up and ask your opinion on. I absolutely loved the scene this week between Jake and Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the conversation that Jason had with Elizabeth. Elizabeth said, Jake got accepted to the
Hmm.
school in Madrid, in Spain.
Pain. Hmm.
And you know, and she was just going over just everything, and Jason's like, you know what, I want to pay for it.
Hmm.
Do you think it was right of Elizabeth to say it's up to Jake? Do you think Jake should have had the say in it, or
Well, I
do you
mean, I
think
think
it
that's up
should
to
have been?
Elizabeth because she was the one saying that she was going to get the loans. If I was Elizabeth, I would have said, absolutely, you are. And if Jake had said no, I would have been like, okay, you're taking out the loans then, sweetness.
Right? Yeah,
You know what I mean? But since Liz was the one planning on taking out the loans and not Jake,
yeah,
then yes, it was fine for her to leave that, that was her decision to leave it up to Jake.
yeah. Um,
Um, if, but if it was my kid, it would have been like, fine, but the loans are yours, sweetheart. You better hope you sell a lot of paintings and are real damn good.
yeah.
Cut off an ear, my friend.
No, I agree with you, and I actually agreed with Elizabeth giving Jake that
Mhm.
decision because you know what? Obviously, Jake and Jason went to the Woodchucks game, and that went well, and I
Sorry,
like
the
how,
name of that just cracks me up. The
yeah,
woodchucks. Sorry, go ahead.
right. But then you have Jason who chose his words wisely,
Mhm.
during that scene, and he said, I don't, you could tell that Jason has regrets, because of his upbringing. And he said,
Yes.
don't let my choices influence, your dream or something to that effect.
My
And
failures as a father.
right,
Yeah.
my failures as a father. Um,
Mhm.
and he even said, money's not going to buy the time missed,
Right.
you know,
Or forgiveness.
or
Right.
forgiveness, right? Um, and I really like that scene.
Mhm.
Like, Jason could have easily said nothing, and
Mhm.
then Jake find out that the tuition is way too high. Elizabeth can't afford it, and he's got to stay at PCU. But Jason and Jake could spend more time together and repair their bond.
Right.
On the other hand, Jason's like, no, this is your dream.
Right.
I want you to go follow your dream.
Right.
So I have no problem paying for it. And I know
Mhm.
it's not going to buy forgiveness. I don't want that.
Right.
Because then when they shook hands, Jake was actually the one that pulled Jason into the hug.
Right. It was a really great scene, and I love the scenes with Jason and his kids. I really
Yeah.
do. I liked Jason and Danny today too.
Yes.
Um, Jake's not going to be around to find out about the Carly thing,
Mm-hmm.
but Danny is.
Yep.
And I have a feeling, I think that might be why Danny's throwing something this week from the promo, is that he overhears something about that.
Yeah.
Because he looks angry and he looks like he's throwing something.
Yeah.
Um, but it might be something else as well.
But I mean,
Um,
it also could have been the fact that Kate's went up to Jason right in front of Danny today.
yeah,
So he'll find something out.
right. Yeah. Um, yes. So Hudson West is not, they're not recasting Jake, and Hudson West is not leaving the show,
No, but he's taking time to do other
but he's
projects.
going to be gone for a while. He'll pop in on vacations, but I mean, there have been years that we've seen, really, Kitty? There have been years that we've seen him twice. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's a recurring character, and that's how that goes. So, Lucky's coming back. Liz is going to already have, that kid with daddy issues. They
Yeah.
decided not to do too.
Yeah. All right,
So,
folks. Well, we're out of time. We're gonna take off and leave you with this. In our opinion, General Hospital's on fire. And
absolutely.
but if you don't agree, go ahead and send an email. Vinnie, Vinnie at sudsandsportscircle.com. Voice your opinion. If you want to come on
Mhm.
the show and discuss it, go ahead. But you won't get your voice heard if you're going to be insulting or ignorant about it.
Yep.
Um, as always, we are an official affiliate of the WWE shop, which is a Fanatic Experience. Go to sudsandsquaredcircle.com/wrestling merch. that has the affiliate code in there. And whatever you buy through that code helps us out, gives us commission. Also, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on this YouTube page, is Dockside at the Bay. Kim and I will be going over season 3, episodes 1 and 2. And then after being postponed from last night, this coming Sunday, the 28th, is going to be the Suds Awards at 7 p.m. We had a few technical problems and we pushed it back a week. So it'll be this Sunday, the 28th of July. But we're out of time. For Angela, I'm Vinny. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week right here back at